Oh, hi Janet. How are you? Let's see. 1 second here. Oh, 1 second here. Oh, I need to block something here. Hi everybody. How are you? Waiting for everyone to join in. That is my that is going to be up for sale. That is a blanket that is going to be up for sale. Here, I have to cover this up here. There we go. That'll work. Hello. Welcome. Where is Fleetwood Finds? Look at my hair. It's beautiful today. Hello. There she is. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Would you like to co-host? Confirm. Here she comes. You set an alarm? There
Hi,
she
everyone.
is. Can I hear you? Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. Yay.
There.
Okay. Hello. Someone set an alarm. Who's that? Vintage Life. I've been cleaning the house all day and had an alarm set for the show. I'm excited. Well, good. No pressure. All right. Well, I'm going to
Really.
leave and Colleen's going to explain everything. Look at you. You have your beautiful yarn behind you. Hey,
Oh,
Darlene.
my
Janet
hoard.
set an alarm too.
My hoard.
Your hoard.
I'm such a yarn hoarder. Like I need to go out and buy more.
It won't go bad. Pickles! Darlene! Everyone is here.
Hi
Um,
guys.
this is my sofa, and I have everyone is around me.
Oh, I
Like,
had to lock
really?
mine out.
You have to lock yours out. And so if you want to switch and you want to see Colleen, all you have to do is push the swap, and then Colleen can be on top, and then I'll be on the bottom. So what we're gonna do is this is our. She had the idea in her show when she was selling Afghans, and then I invited myself to the party.
Which we're thrilled about. Invite yourself anytime, girl. Anytime.
uh, so she knows everything there is to know about crochet. That's her jam, right?
Jeez, the pressure. The pressure.
All of your questions will be answered. Everyone will leave knowing how to crochet, and then I know I mostly know how to knit. I was a knitter first. I do know how to crochet. I have some of my projects around me. Behind me are vintage blankets. This was up for sale. I showed this to Colleen earlier, but then it has like so much damage. I should just mail it to you, and then you can fix it, and then you can sell it. But then over here, like there is a Afghan, and then I have a granny square Afghan that if we might sell it later, who knows. Let's see. I can crochet, but I never learned to knit, and Darlene can't seem to get past the chain stitch. But you can knit though. See, Darlene, go get your hook and your yarn.
That
Favorite
I know.
yarn, best yarn resources. Thank you, Janet, for the question. I like that. I'm also streaming on YouTube, so everyone behave. Don't be weird. Oh, look! Studio 36 Banger is here. Hello, friend. How are
Hello,
you?
hello.
Pickles Dittos Darlene. They need to get past the chain stitch. So favorite yarn. My favorite yarn is to have is independently expensive yarn. My favorite is Miss Babs, and she's out of Tennessee. And I'm actually working on a mystery knit along. I just started yesterday. So this is Miss Babs. This is her
Nice.
name right there, and this is a mystery shawl. And I've started very slowly. It has short rows. Ah! You almost fell, but I caught you. Everyone okay? Beaver tacos. Just good to see you, Jody. Um, my YouTube channel is Flying Pig Thrifts. That is my main channel, but I'm also Flying Pig Knits. I started another one that is geared towards everything yarny related because I wanted to. Sister Mary Holywater, I really like your name.
Oh my
As a
gosh.
former Catholic school teacher, I really like your name.
So it's funny. It's funny that that person said, because I couldn't see the name, that they knit, but they can't get past the chain on a
Yeah.
crochet. That
Yeah.
to me is craziness because
You just
knitting
blew
is
her mind.
two, you know?
So Darlene said that. So my favorite, yeah. So Jody is in Bangor, and then Darlene is in Brewer. So you guys are like neighbors. Side note. So and then my favorite inexpensive yarn is Knit Picks yarn, and it's like your acrylic yarn like this, and that's what I'm
Mhm.
doing my temperature blanket out of. And it used to be Dearmore's was a website that was out of England that I used to get that yarn, but it's practically the same thing. So, and then I've been starting to go when I go to Goodwill's to look at yarn there.
You did so
Yeah,
well. I can't
yeah,
believe you found that beautiful wool.
yeah, I know. I think it was like a kit or a club or something, and someone was just like, screw this. I'm going to take up quilting. They
Yeah.
donated all the yarn.
Anytime I find yarn out there, it's always like the old 1970s scratchy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was impressed that I found that. I like Bargain Bargain Brian says the only thing he knows how to do is to knit in his thoughts. Darlene likes fluffy yarn, so her scarves and baby blankets are soft and fluffy. Very nice. So Colleen, what's your favorite yarn of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, like what's your go-to that you're like, oh,
So for me, I'm always making like hats and gloves and fingerless gloves and things like that. So cost efficiently, I do love the Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn.
okay.
It's an acrylic. It's easy to wash. It doesn't pill too easily, and it's just soft on the hands to work with. So when I'm doing like a lot of hats and gloves and things like that, unless it's like something someone really wants, like a wool,
Yeah.
my new favorite is this. I just did. This is an acrylic wool blend.
Oh, that's the one you were showing me. Was that the
Yeah.
one you were showing me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a gorgeous yarn, and I love this. This is probably my new favorite, and I
Okay.
believe it's Temptations. It's boutique. It's Red Heart Treasure. That's what it is.
Oh, Red Heart. Okay.
So it's an old ball of yarn that I had, and I pulled it out of my resources back here, and I was like, "Oh, I've never used that." So
Nice.
this is probably my newest favorite, and I have it in several colors. But
Okay.
it's easy to work with.
Yeah.
But wool can be scratchy, so I
Wool
like a
can be
blend.
scratchy.
You
Yeah.
know,
Back here it says, Jody said, I got Knit Picks brand from me, and she likes it also. And almost have two, oh, you have 2 months. Yes, because you should if you're doing it on time. I'll show my blanket right here. And then Chick Bag says, I knit and crochet, but I am not an expert in either. I've had several projects I had not completed, but you inspired me to have and finish several. Nice.
mm.
So what Jody is talking about is this crochet temperature blanket. Have you done one of these,
I did.
Colleen?
I did one years ago for my niece. She's a January
Oh, gotcha.
baby. So I did one throughout the year. I think it was her 13th birthday. And I did
Okay.
it. And it was huge by the end. It was like it was a king size blanket. It really
Yeah, this
was.
is ginormous because this was so what you do is you do the temperatures.
Mhm.
So here are my temperatures here. And then I couldn't pick. I made a scarf in 2013. I don't know if I brought the scarf down. And it was your typical like reds to greens to blues. And I didn't want that. So I made Jenny pick, my daughter, pick the colors on the way home from Maine. I was like, pick 10 of your favorite colors. And I was like, okay, I'll go with them. So I try not to, let me hold on to you so you don't fall off the edge of the sofa. So I have January. So it was kind of staying in the same color. So I was like, I don't want it to just be mint, 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 mint,
I
mint.
know. That's the thing.
So
Yep.
I'm doing the highs and the lows.
Mhm.
And this is ginormous. This is going to be like a super king size. Like this, you can see it. Like I can't even get it in the shot. It's so
I
big.
love the
I think
colors
it's
though.
28 inches by 28 inches. So this is January. You can see the avocado starts off. This is a warm day. And then we had a big stretch of cold, cold, cold weather,
Mhm.
highs and lows. And then we actually ended and started on the same temperatures. So that was January. And then February, I was starting to do yesterday because you have to do a day behind. So this morning I was doing it yesterday's and then I had to do other things. So, and then this is how that's turning out.
It's
But
gonna look
I'm
so
using
different.
the Knit Picks yarn for that. So how do you join January 31 days and February? So I think I'm going to add white to make it the same as 31, and then I'm going to tell Colleen, how can I join this without being so crappy?
Well, there's several ways of
Yeah.
joining it. And for that's the moss stitch, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So for that, I would almost do a hidden seam, an invisible seam, because of the size of the stitch. Like if you were doing a granny, you could do a work and go
Yeah.
granny where you'd fit into each of the spaces in a granny square. But for that, I would do like an invisible
This is a
one
granny.
where you zigzag it back and forth and then pull it tight. Yeah, that's a granny.
So
Yeah.
you
I
say an invisible, like, how did they join these?
So that is all stitched together. I actually have here, I'll show you. So I started this one a while ago. So if you could see, do you see
Mhm.
in between there?
Yeah.
So you stitch into each of the holes. So you work as you go. As you go, you attach. And then
Okay.
so like you do the centers when you go to your outer rim on your granny square, you
Yes.
work into the previous one that you finished.
Oh,
So you
okay.
sew it in and you go in rows like this back and forth. So this is a worked in join where something like, let
Like
me
my
see.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have something else. That blanket right there. So
There would be a lot of thinking ahead on that, Janet says.
this isn't mine. This is one that we picked up in the wild. So this would be like sewn together, like, but this is the backside. So whoever did this used first off a very dark yarn
Yeah, I
to
would have
sew it
used
together.
gray.
Yeah. So I'm gonna probably pull this all apart and then join it together the right way.
No big deal.
So if you could see though, the way it's joined, it's sewn together like that. It's a neat sew together, but I would never do it in a different yarn color. I would pick like the darkest gray
Yeah.
and then do it. And there's a way of doing an invisible stitch where you zigzag it back and forth.
I
And
wonder
then
if that's like I call it a mattress stitch when I do plush.
yes,
And that you can't see. Is this
yes.
one? No, this wasn't
It's
one.
very similar. Yeah, it's
That
very
where you're
similar.
kind of like sewing like this. Okay, that's what I was doing then. All right.
Yeah, that's the way I would do yours
Okay.
because of the tight stitch that a moss
Yeah.
stitch is, you know? It's
Okay.
not gauzy like a granny.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Well, or not. In 5 hours, I'll be at your house and you can do it for me.
absolutely. I'll meet you halfway. Coffee and a sewing needle.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so yeah, that's how I'm gonna add the make them all even. Is probably just add white because that's neutral and it'll be, and then maybe make a white border when it's 400 feet big
Yeah.
by 400 feet big.
Yeah. I mean,
So
you know what? For me personally, it depends on what I'm working on.
yeah.
Sometimes I like to do the work, like to work it and join it. Sometimes I like to sew it because it closes it up nice and tight
Mm,
and makes it neat.
yeah.
But it's each his own. I mean, and
Okay.
it also depends on the stitch. I really do believe that it really does depend on what stitch you're using.
Okay. I like the idea of it being invisible, so then they're just kind of joined together, and it's not. My mom always said there's a difference between handmade and handy hands at home. So handy hands at home is like, here it is. And then handmade is like, wow, this is amazing.
Well,
So,
I always find too, and I don't know if you find this, Dagny, but the finishing work on
yes,
any piece is like if you're not precise with it, you can ruin all the work that you've done.
yes.
And
Uh,
to me, that's an art itself, just the thing,
yeah. I
you know.
learned that with making the mice. I don't have them because I just pack them up. But the mice and the cats I've been making. Well, I have Jenny's snake. Where's your snake, honey bun? I know.
You're
She's like,
amazing with these things. You just whip them up like
I
this.
know. I was like, Jenny, let me show your snake. And then it probably fell on the floor. Oh, here it is. It's right in front of me. Ah, snake. It's right here.
So
So
cute.
when this is knit flat, this is not knit in the round. So it's kind of, you can kind of see some of the stitches because I have pipe cleaner in here and some stuffing. But you can see like, let's see, where's a good spot? This is a good section. Like the seam is it's pretty invisible. But this was the very first one I made. but I learned, like, this looks really crummy to me, but this is hers, so she gets
Well,
the she gets the crummy
hey,
one.
it's
She said, "Hey." So that's
it's
like the mattress stitch. So that here on
right,
the back of the head, you can see, like, you can't see, like, it's
right,
right
right,
there.
right.
But when I remember when I first was learning to do this, I would, you could see the seam, and it looked so crappy. I
I know.
remember I made a birthday cake, and you could see the seam because I didn't know how to do it, and then you perfect it, and then finally it gets better.
I know. I mean, I have gotten to points where I've ripped out the seams off of baby sweaters, things like
Yep.
that. And I got so frustrated, put it down and I just work on something else. And then I
Yep.
go, okay, be patient,
Oh,
go
yeah.
back, finish it. And
How
I'm
many
really
times have I
bad at that.
yes, that you're working on something, and then you just, like, you just rip it out. You're like, "Ah."
I
That's
know.
what I like about crochet. You can rip back, and it's not, life ending. When you do this, like, I've done many times where I've, like, because I use cable needles, and so I'll, like, finish a row, and then I'm, like, pulling this to bring it to the thing, and
And it goes flying.
and then you
Hmm.
really have to be like, "I'll be okay."
I know. I know. And that is because it's so easy to drop a stitch.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it. So like when I knit, because I'm not like you, you're a
Yeah.
great knitter. I'm a so knitter. I
Yeah.
like it because I think there's a cleaner look to a knitted project where
Yes.
I feel like crochet is very lacy looking.
Yes.
And I do love like the texture of a knitted item, but I find that like if you're not holding your stitches on when you're
Right.
pulling out, one by one just to
Well,
get to
that's
that
like on
mistake.
here. So here is another shawl I'm working on. And if you subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Flying Pig Knits, I do
Yes.
all the updates over there. So this is a shawl. It's called Chasing Sunset. But I had this rainbow yarn. This is by Miss Babs. And so what all that lace is putting your yarn forward on purpose in certain areas and just repeating that, and then you have lace. But when you're first starting to knit, sometimes you get a hole in your work, and it's because you've put a yarn forward. But when you do lace, it's just a repeated pattern of
Yeah.
purposely putting
Yeah.
it there. But I like how, like, this is what she was saying about how there's different textures. This is garter. This is when you knit every row. This is knit side. Like if your sweater is usually, this is ribbed. So this is knit is showing, but in between are the pearls. So here is the back side is the pearls. And the white cashmere cat that Janet got, that was turned inside out. So the pearl side was on the outside. So it would look more fluffy.
I
So
love that. I
and
love
then
that.
the scarf I'm working on, that's the mystery. This is all garter. So you knit every
Yeah.
row.
Yep. Yep.
And then these are short rows. So it can be all kind the cat is happy. It can be all kinds of different textures, but I think crochet is more, I don't know. There's so many different stitches.
Well,
Like
believe it or
Colleen's
not,
gonna tell us what this stitch is.
believe it or not, guess what that's called?
Shell. I'm gonna guess it's shell or feather and fan.
It's called
It's
the drunken granny.
this is called Drunken Granny. That just leveled it up.
so
Why
so
is it
there's
called the
this
Drunken Granny?
so there's a stitch that's called corner to corner, and you start with a square on the bottom, and then you work it side to side so it builds up this way, and
Oh,
then you come in and it makes the square. So you increase, and then decrease. Corner to corner is literally what it means. You go from one corner to the other.
like this.
Yeah, yeah. So you see how the pattern goes like that, like it's going like this and this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's because you do like what that is let's say I'm going to guess at the number. I think it's 6 double crochets this way, and then you do 6 double crochets this way.
Yes.
That's what it is. So you stack it almost like a brick. Do you know what I mean? That's why.
These are double crochets, I do know that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. See, and I think there's a lot more stitches in crochet, like drunken, like
Well, no,
granny.
believe it or not, that's not true. So there's literally, these are your stitches. For you to know how to crochet anything, you
Mhm.
have to know how to do a chain. You have to know how to do a single crochet,
Yep.
a half double crochet, a double crochet, a treble crochet.
Yes.
Okay. And with all those, it's like knitting, it's how you work it that
Right.
makes it
Okay.
look different. So, like that pattern, all it is the way you do your 6, And
Okay.
then instead of going next to it this way, you'd go like this. You'd go to the side of that other
Mm,
stitch and go into it in a different direction.
okay.
All it is, it's really a visual
I
fake. You know what
well,
I
I
mean? It's
think
like a
that
fake
I
out.
maybe I think that because in knitting it's just knit or purl.
I know. But,
But
you
then
know,
there's like wrapping stitches, there's
right,
short rows, there's like when you learn the patterns. And
right.
thank goodness that it still came because like this is the shawl that I'm working on. So like this is the pattern and someone said they don't know how to read a pattern. Here Janet said chain, single, half double, double, triple. Keep telling yourself that. But then if you get a British pattern, they have slightly different.
Well, believe
Hello
it.
Unique Vintique.
Do you know
So
what?
so here is a pattern, a knit pattern. And
Yes.
so I hadn't knit in like 5 or 6 years. I had taken a long break. And so it was like, will I remember what they mean? And I do. So so like here is knit to last stitch, make one left, knit one, and then I should have 27. But then I had to remember what a short row was. You have to kind of remember, which is good,
Yeah.
I think. It's good for your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, it is good for the brain. It is
Yeah.
good for the brain. But like the best way to start anything, like when I taught,
Mhm.
I would get everybody just doing the chain. Just do the
Yes.
chain and then rip it out and do the chain again, then rip it out.
Yes.
Because like if you get the foundation and then do a single crochet for a while. Just do a
Yes.
single crochet.
That's
Do
what the
it.
blanket is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you just got to start
Yeah.
slow and small. And one of the biggest way people give up is
Mhm.
because they're like, "Oh, I saw this gorgeous scarf," and it's like an intermediate or advanced crochet thing. Like,
Yeah.
no, you got to start small,
Yeah.
and it's like you got to learn your ABCs before you can read and write.
That's
You got
right.
to do it. You got to
Yeah.
do it slow and steady.
I made so many scarves when I started out, so many scarves. And then I realized like if you make a short scarf as big as your head and you join the back, and
There
then
you
you can
go.
knit a top, you have a hat.
There you have a hat.
And then I moved on to I think then I moved on to thing like toys. And yeah, Janet says that's why the granny squares are so important because it's kind of building block. And
Yes.
then you could I did toys and then I did shawls. And I have a lot of shawls if we want to like do show and tell. Because weren't you going to show off some of your stuff too? Didn't we talk about that?
Well, I'll show you. I did this over the weekend, this pattern
Well,
over the
that's
weekend.
pretty. And if you guys want to see, just swap, and she'll be at the top with the chat not on her.
So this is called the wheat stitch because it looks like, the top of wheat.
Oh yeah, it does.
And all it is, once again, all it is like double crochets.
Into the
This
same
is
one.
so it's almost like doing a puff stitch, but you
Okay.
do one in one direction and then you do the other on the next row in a different direction and it just does the pattern. So
That's
it
like in
looks like
knitting. You have knit two together goes one way, and then knit
right.
through the back loop goes another way.
Right. So
Okay.
this
Well, you show the
this
hat,
is
and then
something
we'll
I did.
do one for one.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I want to see it. I love your stuff. I could look at your stuff forever.
Well, thank you. So then I moved on to shawls, and then after shawls, I did a lot of socks. I made 19 pairs of socks. So and then I remember my husband's aunt would be like, "You can buy those," and I was like, "I know, but I made them." And I used to do them two at a time because the first time I made one, and then you're like, "Oh, now I have to make another one." So I used to do two at a time.
I've
So
never
here
done.
is a shawl I made. I don't
Mm,
remember what this is called, but you can see like here's the garter
yeah.
and this is with worsted weight yarn, so it's a little bit thicker. And then it has this kind of a basket woven little pattern. So all it is going over and over and over again. So this is a really big,
Very pretty.
yeah.
I like the colors.
Thank you.
The
And then
colors
I
are
like to use up all of the yarn, so I make tassels.
I love that. I
Yes.
just I do a scrap game with
Oh,
all my
okay.
little leftovers.
Okay, show your next project.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So I started these for the spring. So
Aw, see, that's a granny square.
this is a granny square and it will be
Carol says watching you makes me want to start crocheting again.
oh,
And
please
Darlene
do
puts
it.
tassels on the end of her scarves.
So
That's a
this,
really pretty, purse.
thank you. It's
I
going to
like
be
the
like that.
colors.
So I'm going to line it. I'll line it and it'll have these resin bamboo handles.
That's
So
pretty.
I started doing these because, like, for me, whenever I have like spare wool,
Mhm.
like I said, I just ball up my little leftovers and I throw them in a bag right next to me when I'm watching TV. And I throw together thousands of granny squares because I'm like, at least I'll use it. I'll figure out another way. So
Right.
this will be something that I'm going to line. It'll be a really pretty purse. I'll have it in several colors. So this was something I just did
You just
a
whipped
few
up.
weeks ago.
GK says that would make her want or love to carry a purse, and how
Oh,
wonderful.
good. Good, good, good. Yeah, I'm gonna line them. I have to pull out the sewing machine that hasn't
Okay.
been worked out very well lately. So I'm gonna pull that out and line them, and then I will have them in our next Afghan show.
And what is your next Afghan show?
Um, I think at the end of the month. I think
Okay.
March. I don't
Okay.
know. March 22nd, is it? I'm supposed to be quiet. Oh no, she's supposed to be quiet. She's over here.
Who is
The other
that?
one. Michelle.
Is Michelle?
She's like, I'm not supposed to be on camera. You're supposed to be on
Get
camera.
over it. Get in camera.
There's my
Hi.
girl.
Hello, love. Well, when I'm knitting and crocheting, which is never,
No, I'm usually sitting in the car with her and her husband like this. Yeah, so what's going on? Where are we going next?
I have a best friend that crochets like this. I don't have to do it.
There you go.
And now I have
Exactly.
you, Dagny, and I'm so excited to be your new friend. I'll have
N-
everything.
Now you
Everything.
have knitted things.
Yes.
So
Oh
funny.
yeah, thrilled. I think our next the Afghan show, I'll
I
put
think
it
it's
up.
the 20.
It's like the 26th, but
We may do it before.
we may do it
Yeah.
before
Okay.
because she might be going down to Boca,
Oh.
baby, because her daughter's getting married.
Yeah, my daughter
Oh.
just picked the date,
Oh.
January 3rd of next year.
Okay.
In
Doing it
Boca.
down there because her granddad's
My dad lives in Boca Raton. And
Okay.
she's very, very close with my father.
Okay. Nice.
And so he can't really travel much.
Okay,
So
so it'll be closer.
she's like,
sweet.
wherever he is, I'm getting married there.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So
Nice. I got married in January.
did you?
That's unusual.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What date? She's getting married.
13th.
Oh, cool. That's a good date.
It was during a blizzard.
I got married December 2nd.
Okay.
I was a December wedding.
I was not going to sweat. There was no
13th.
way.
13th, the 13th.
Yeah.
That's like my lucky number. I love the number 13.
Oh, it's 13 is very special to us. As we got married on. My daughter's birthday is the 13th. We have family members at the 13th, so it's very special.
Oh, isn't it funny
Yeah.
how that happens? Like it
I
goes on
know.
repeat. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's great.
It's awesome.
That's
All right,
cool.
bye. I love you.
She's like, I'm not supposed to be.
That'll be exciting. Yeah, I went to a wedding in July before we got married in Baltimore. See? Oh, your birthday. That's when Jenny's is. Darlene, your sister's is the 13th. Jenny's is April 13th. So we went to a wedding in July in Baltimore. Oh my God, it was so hot. There was no way. It was so humid and I was so sweaty. And before that, I was like, we should get married 4th of July because you always will have like fireworks. You always have the day off. And I was like, no, no way. And so I was in school, and so it was over a break. So that's why we picked January. So here's another shawl I made. This is color work, stranded color work.
Wow. Now that is a lot of work.
Yeah. This was like one of those things when you get done with this work and you just have these, you're like, oh my God.
That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. I wouldn't even, I've done smaller things in color work like that, but man, that would take me a good year to do. Where I can throw things together very quickly crochet wise.
Yeah. I bet we're both fast. I bet we're both pretty fast. I'll be like, you're so fast. And then you'd be like, you're so fast.
Well, you are a very fast and capable knitter where I'm not a fast knitter. And I haven't touched my knitting needles, honestly, in probably 2 years now. I know. I know. I just started doing the crochet because I could make things faster and,
Okay.
and before I started doing this with Michelle, on Whatnot, I had my own little business, a side
Yeah.
business when my kids were growing up.
Oh, okay.
And so I would crochet and knit and teach people how to crochet and knit. And then I
Right.
just started doing like baby layettes. And at Christmas time, all the teachers in my area would like order hat, scarves, mitten sets. So
Wow.
I just would start like getting out there, and my name got out there, and people were asking for the homemade items, which was wonderful. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So that's, you know what? I just kind of stuck with the crochet and kind
Okay.
of put down my knitting needles, but I do love to knit, and I
Right.
will pick them back up again. I will.
I wanted like the challenge of knowing how to read a crochet pattern, and it is different than knitting pattern. And then, excuse me, amigurumi was very popular, starting to become very popular, and so I wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then, who doesn't love a granny square?
I
Like
know.
they're so cute. You
I
can
know.
make one giant one, you have a blanket, or you can make like you made that bag, or you can make a vest or a sweater or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, and right now I feel like the granny square sweaters and everything is like everybody's looking for it
Yeah.
lately, which
Yeah.
is great. I mean, my mom years ago taught me how to do this.
Okay. Oh, okay.
She's
Yeah. How did you learn? You learned from your mom?
Yeah, so my mom was born and raised in Ireland, as
Oh,
was my father. And
okay.
my mom, when I was a little girl, we didn't have a lot of money. And
Mm-hmm.
she basically said, here's a hook, here's a yarn, I'll show you a chain, I'll show you
Mm-hmm.
single crochet, go make your doll clothes. And so
Oh,
I did. That's how I would make my doll clothes and Barbie clothes. And I just kept going, like, Mom, teach me something else. What
okay. Right.
another stitch. And the
Okay.
thing was, in Ireland, there was no, oh, this is how you read a pattern. It was you knit, you purl,
Okay.
for that she learned. So
Yes.
they just would visually make sweaters, socks, mittens, hats. There was no patterns back then. They
Oh,
just would visually have to, how would you make that? How do you think you would make that? That's what their teachers would
oh.
say to them. And she said that to me all the time. What do you mean a pattern? And I'm like a pattern.
I could see like a sock. You don't really need a pattern. Well, I follow patterns, but you were constantly trying that sock on to know when to turn the heel and when
Right?
to like. So that I could see maybe a sock and maybe mittens, but I can't imagine like an Irish sweater. Can you imagine?
Yeah, and my mom made all of us every year. She would make us mittens, hats, scarves, the Irish tams, the little Bonine Irish tams for the St. Patrick's Day parade that we had to
Okay.
march in every year. And um, but she never knew how to read a pattern ever. My
Wow.
mother never knew.
That's such talent.
Yeah, so when I got married, I
Yeah.
decided to take in the local high school, they were doing the continuing education program for adults, how to knit and crochet. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And they were like, what are you doing here? You know how to do all this. I said, I don't know how to read this. What is this? So I started taking classes just to read patterns because I knew
That's
all the stitches.
when I was in high school in Arizona, and kids spoke Spanish, but they weren't really good in Spanish class because you had to learn like the specific like grammar and like all that stuff. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Janet said she learned in college from her friend, her best friend 50 years later. She's left-handed but Janet is not. And my sister's left-handed and I taught her to knit, and I think she kind of crochets, learned on her own, but I remember teaching, and she knits right-handed because there is no way that I could show her.
My sister in law is left handed,
Mm,
and she wanted me to teach her how to do it. And you literally have to stop your brain from working
yeah,
the way it works for you and go the opposite direction. And I finally kind of taught her just little bits of it. And I was like, Erin, I really don't think I can do this.
yeah,
You're going to have to go and get someone who's left handed to show you how to do it.
yeah.
I don't think I can do it.
I
So,
don't think I could do it. Like, can you imagine if you were, because I'm right-handed, and to
me,
be shown how to do it? Oh, that would just like,
You almost
flip your
have to
mind.
like flip it, you know? You almost have to switch your way of thinking and go backwards.
Okay. Darlene's ambidextrous. She can go either way. And Janet says they would sit across from each other and she would imitate her. Okay.
Oh, that's smart.
That's a good idea because I also taught when I was a teacher at the Catholic school, they had clubs afterwards. And so I taught knitting to like these kids, and we did counter cross stitch and stuff like that. And the knitting was hard. Like the hardest thing that I had was doing the slip stitch to like start, which is kind of, I think, the same thing you start in crochet. But just to like start, like a lot of kids have a hard trouble. They don't know how to do this, like to make
Yeah.
that you can undo. That
Yeah.
was like took the longest time.
Yeah.
Jody says she's left-handed and her grandma taught her when she was very young, but right-handed, and she holds the hook weird, but it works. Hey, as long as it works. And Darlene's faster righty. And Out and About Vintage says that's why in the 70s they made everybody write with their right hand who's left-handed. Yeah.
That's true.
My sister was born in 70 and I she is left-handed, so it was probably like the tail end of that. In 6th grade, Carol's lady teacher taught the girls to crochet, knitting, and macrame. The boys went with the male teacher and built rockets. Oh, that kind of sounds like fun too, though.
I know. Wait a second. That
I
doesn't
know.
even.
I know. And Pickles learned from her left-handed mom the same as Janet, but in the long run, you actually knit backward.
Yeah.
Now, see, I've heard that, like, because once you've like mastered knit, you're like, what else can I learn? And I've learned like, well, I've looked into knitting backwards, so you don't have to flip your stuff. Like, you can just like,
Go
but it
back
was just
and forth. Yeah.
too hard for me. It was too mind bendy. But I wanted to learn how to knit, and my mother-in-law knew how to knit, and she made like baby sweaters and stuff like that. So she showed me the basics, and then I kind of went off on my own. And Jimmy and I did a video on my Flying Pig thrifts. Jimmy, what was that video called? It was like doing hobbies. Revisiting old hobbies. It's in December, and he talks about APA baseball, and I talk about knitting, and I show off some of my knitting, and then we started the knits channel. So uh, she showed me the basics, and then this was really before internet was kind of popular and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, so Janet's like, check YouTube, but it was before like YouTube was pop. I'm sure it was out there, but it was like no one ever. You just didn't. It wasn't very popular. So I did books, and so my favorite book, if you are in the chat and you're wondering what I like, I used it's called Knit Stitch. What is it called? Stitch and Bitch. And Jenny just looked at me. It's called that because you like you sit around knitting and
And talking.
talking. And so that I really like that. But she has a whole I think there's like 3 of them.
Mhm.
And the first one, it really has, I'm a visual learner. I know, Jan's like, my pearls. It has lots of drawings, like real, like step-by-step drawings. And that really helped me a lot. So, and then now coming back, I had to make sure I knew what a short row was for this project. So I look for the tutorials, and I've done some tutorials on my channel, but
Mhm.
and I need to do more. But I figure like just go do that person. But the tutorials that are really short, because that means they get right to the point. I hate it
Yes.
when you're like, what is a short row? And it's like a 12-minute video. It's like,
Yes.
oh, you're killing me. I want to know how to do it so I can go back to my project. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think nowadays it's more common to do YouTube, but Stitch and Bitch, that book really, really helped me.
Well, it's you know what? For me, I when I was learning how to read a pattern, I was struggling because I
Yeah.
knew the stitches, but then I was like, SC ink, what? Like,
Single
and
crochet
like
increase.
I know. But when I first was starting, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What's an SC
Yeah.
ink?
Yeah.
12 2. What is that? And so then I started to like, and I would stop what I was reading, look at a video. Oh, okay, hold
Yeah.
on a second. And once I would lock it in, I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah.
And then my oldest sister, because I'm one of 6, my oldest sister and my 2 older sisters, we all crocheted and knitted
Okay.
because my mom was like Martha Stewart before there was a Martha Stewart.
Okay.
She did everything. She upholstered furniture. She made our clothes. She was amazing. And my oldest sister, when she started, like her kids were getting married, she was like, I want to make baby things for grandbabies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, okay. So I showed her a few things and she was like, but I can't read a pattern. I'm like, yeah, you can. I said, the what I found helpful for me
Yeah.
is I would read it and then I'd read it out loud and then I'd tear it out and I'd do it a few times. Single
Oh,
crochet, increase two,
yeah.
and I would do a row of it and talk it out loud to myself.
Hmm.
And then it would like click. You have to be patient with it though. You will get it.
Yeah.
But like you just like the best thing is you do have the YouTube videos, people putting out tutorials. And
Hmm.
I agree with you. Some of them are so winded. You're just like,
I
stop.
know. It's just like today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a short row. Now, short rows are really, it's like I'm here because I know that I need to learn how to do it.
Right,
You just need to get right to the point.
right.
So, that's what I look at now is the really short ones.
I think Vintage Life asked about tatting. Have you ever done
Yeah, I
that?
was scrolling back up to see some of these. These are really good comments. Let's see. Jan said, "My mom tried with me, but I only do it one way, more like knit, no purl." Well, you're doing garter stitch, Jan,
There you
and she
go.
does needle
That's fine.
pointing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love needle. I do needle pointing too, but well, counter cross stitch. I've done some embroidery. Pickle says, "I'm actually working on macrame now. Being a Girl Scout, I've
Nice.
really learned and taught a lot with knots. Very easy to do. I love. Yeah, I've done a little macrame. That's fun." Vintage life. My mother made several white crocheted Christmas ornaments one year, and we did our entire tree with them with white lights. It was, oh, I bet that was pretty.
Beautiful.
Darlene likes to do cross stitch. Janet Ray does needlepoint, but only basket weave. And then Darlene does, let's see, Pickles likes cross stitch. Yeah, that was I would guess that's the very first craft, like handicraft, was counter cross stitch. It was that owl on a branch. That was the very first thing. And then I've done like really big angel like thing. Like I go to my mom's house, I'm like, did I do that? And she's like, yes, you did. But it
Yeah.
was very hard on my hands and my wrists. And so then I got like a lap embroidery hoop, and that does help. But then I got into knitting and took off. So
I know. I used
yeah.
to cross stitch and I made like my kids I cross stitched their baby quilt for their
Yeah.
bassinet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to do it all the time, but my eyes are
Yeah.
not great anymore. I don't think I could do it. I
Do
really
you look at your crochet when you do it? Because I don't look at my knitting. It doesn't like unless I'm doing like this lace, like this, you have to kind of
I
watch what
don't
you're doing.
have to. I don't
I
have
don't
to
either.
watch what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because sometimes when I'm learning a new stitch, like when I was doing this pattern,
Yeah.
it was new to me, so I wanted to watch what I was
Yeah.
doing. And then once I got halfway through the hat pattern, I'm like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And I sit there and watch a movie and just
Yes, I do
continue
that too.
on.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
meditative. Yeah, like so like this I have to pay. I think I was watching Kate. She had a show and it was so interesting. I was constantly messing up. I was like, ah. So with lace, I you do have to kind of pay attention, but for the most part, I don't have it's you can feel it and you kind of feel when you drop something because it's too close. I think it's because I'm old and my eyes is like it's too like, I don't need so it's nice because 'cause you're like, "I'm gonna watch a movie, but I also made you a blanket."
I you know what? I For me, it is meditative. It's very
Yes.
relaxing,
Yes.
because it's a repetition. It's just
Yes.
and it, for me, I feel like I'm always so busy in my head and in my
Mhm.
life that when I finally get to sit at night and dim the lights
Yeah.
or put a show on or a movie on, I
Yeah.
could just sit there and just kind of shut down a bit,
Well, and that's the same thing when Jimmy and I did that, revisiting hobbies video, and when I came back to knitting, because I was just like it was cold and I want a new hat, and it was just like there's like a calmness that just comes over your brain when
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I like the counting, like you have to count, and then sometimes you don't realize you've been counting and you get to the end of the row and you're like 49, 50, and then you count and you're like, oh. So you've like so I don't know. I just think it's good for your brain to have like
I
if
do
whether
too.
it's cross stitch or, knitting, crocheting, whatever. If you're keeping yourself busy, your mind busy, I think that's good for you.
I definitely agree with that 100%. And I
Mhm.
also feel like It's it's very calming, and it's also it gets to for me, I get to open up my creative side,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because like sometimes I'll follow a pattern, and sometimes like I'll just learn a new stitch and then make something up on my own with the new stitch.
Nice.
You know, like this was just a new stitch I learned. And so I
Right.
was
You
like,
just went
"Oh,
with
I'm gonna
it.
make a scarf.
Yeah.
Let me just make a scarf with that," because it
Nice.
just was like a repeat row like stitch. All it
Yeah.
was is a repeat row. And I was like,
Sapphire Dream says home ec in middle school and being in Girl Scouts gave her the basics, but now being 50, it seems much more difficult. Yeah, well, our brains get older. I think that's why it's good. I'm glad I got back into it because I think it is good for your brain to keep yourself busy and a challenge, like you said, learning that new stitch.
yeah.
And for me, revisiting old stitches after taking such a long break. Um, I'm
Yeah.
glad it came back.
Yeah. And you know what? I think um s- I've heard this saying before and I agree with it. Never stop learning.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, I feel like that is such a big deal for our aging brains.
Yeah,
When you get older, you got to keep your brain active
right. Yeah,
and not be idle, you know?
right.
So
Yeah.
like I feel like it's relaxing, it's great, it's busying my brain,
Hmm.
and you get this beautiful product at the end of it,
Sure.
you know?
Do you think you can show them on this, like at that view of like, because some people said they're stuck off of the chain that
Sure.
we could get people back
I'm
in the
just going to turn you down just a little
yeah.
so you can see. There you go.
And like again, if you go on your phone and it says swap, put me at the bottom, and then you don't have to look through the chat, or you can swipe the chat away.
So, um when I teach, I always tell people use a J5 sorry 6.0 millimeter because it's a nice
I
substantial.
think that's the hook I'm using for my blanket.
Yeah. It's a good crochet hook. It's a
Okay.
good size for a starter.
Okay.
And get some worsted weight, a light color. Don't start on a dark color.
Do not start on black.
Do not start on dark colors. The reason behind that is you won't be able to find your stitches. So
Right.
until you really get the rhythm of what a stitch looks like, how to go into it,
Hmm.
you'll see it with a light yarn, a worsted weight light yarn,
Yep.
and a size J or 6 millimeter. That's what
Yes.
I always recommend to start. So I'm just going to show you. This is called a slip knot.
Yep.
Okay. And I go, I say all the time,
Oh,
it's like the breast cancer ribbon,
it
right?
is like the breast cancer
This
ribbon.
is how I taught. It's like a breast cancer ribbon. And then you just grab one of the strings and pull it up through the
Oh,
loop.
look at you, fancy pants.
So
I'm gonna
that's how I
try.
taught people. But I will show
And
you.
then this is how I would teach it. You go like this and you pull it through. Why don't you guys know how to do that?
I'm like, make it more difficult, Carl.
Wait, so how did you do that? Wait, what'd you do?
Okay. So you take it like this and then you twist it, right? Oops, hold on. Twist it,
Yes.
and then you see how it looks like, and then
Yes.
just grab one of your strings and pull it up through.
Look, everybody. Sapphire's like, I know, that's how we do it.
She's
Well, I
like,
also saw
okay,
another
we know
lady,
that.
she did it on her finger and she was like, you go like this and you go like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a few
Look,
ways,
it
to
didn't
be
work
honest.
it. Okay, do it Colleen's way. So take your yarn, twist it, and then grab one.
And
Isn't
then
that
just pull.
funny? Because, okay, I know I'm interrupting you, but like I do a cable cast on. So that is very similar to the cable cast on. I just happen to have some knitting needles here. These are way too small for this yarn, but like I just want to interrupt Colleen real quick.
No, go
So
ahead.
like you put the first stitch on here like this. Good thing I'm using black so no one can see what I'm doing.
Your dogs.
And to do the cable cast on, look, you put your two fingers like this. I did
Yeah.
do a tutorial on this on my channel, Flying Pig Knits. So isn't it? It's kind of like the same thing.
So it's funny. I've heard that called the slingshot cast on, or
Oh,
is that different?
it probably is. The quantum's here. You
Oh,
don't make bunny ears. That could. I don't know. I don't know if it's.
because
don't
I
know.
haven't done it in a while. And
Yeah.
from my
There's all
memory,
kinds of names for everything.
I know.
Okay. All right. So everyone has their hook and their light colored worsted weight yarn and their size 6 hook. And they've all made that fancy dancy slip. Okay. And go.
Okay. No pressure. Okay. So
And then
you're
I'm going to
gonna,
co host everybody and we're going to see your granny square.
okay. So, okay. Here you have your little slip knot. You're going to put your needle in, and then you're just going to gently pull on your yarn, and then it'll be tighter to your needle like this. So this is your tail, guys. That's not your working.
Yeah.
This is your working. Okay. So what I do is I almost hold the tail when you're starting a chain like this. So it doesn't spin. Your work won't spin around and spin around. So it's just a yarn over. Oops, sorry.
You got, yeah.
Hold on. Yarn over. Okay. And oh, wait, why is it doing that? There. Sorry.
Okay.
Yarn over, and then you pull through. Okay. Can you see this or no?
You
Yarn
have to keep it
over,
up like that. There
pull
you
through.
go. So here
Yarn.
she's making a chain.
This is a chain. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. These are the worst chains I've ever made. Yarn over, pull through.
Look,
Yarn.
it looks like my head is on your body.
There,
It looks like I'm teaching everyone to
there you go.
crochet.
Look. So this is the worst chain I have
I
ever
want
made
to
in
take a
my life.
picture.
Oh my God, it's
Wait,
awful. Okay,
wait.
go ahead. Okay, so there's your chain. And do you see how they look like little hearts?
Yes.
I always say the chains look like hearts. So when you're starting, this is your starting foundation. So you build on this. So I'll show you a single crochet because that's what you should start with.
Then how
So
many are there? So, like, do you count the very first one and do you count the one on your hook?
So the one on the hook is not, this is not a chain. That's your working yarn.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I will
You have
show
like
you.
6?
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I said 6.
And you know what? And people will always say, I don't know how many I have,
Yeah.
They will always say, I really don't know how many I have. I'm going to make a better chain because that was just the worst chain. And I work faster than that. So hold on.
Look how you hold your hook. That looks so cool. I go like this.
So when I learned from my
Yeah.
mother, this is, believe it or not, they say this is the American way.
Oh,
And when I learned from my mother, this is how she did it. She did this. Well, that's the way my mom did it.
that's cool.
And she'd say, this is the Irish way.
That's
So
neato.
that's the way my mom crocheted.
That's like a machine. You look like a sewing machine.
I do it this way because I feel like it's more fluid, and the stitches, for some reason I feel like my tension and the stitches, it just flows easier this way.
Huh.
It goes a little
That's really
faster.
cool.
So I have 6 stitches on here, 6 chains.
Mhm.
What you're going to do is you're going to take the tip of your needle and you're going to go into a stitch just like that. So you
Darlene's
step.
been told she knits upside down.
So you're going to stab right here in the center of a stitch.
Wait,
Yarn.
Vintage Life was so stunned at the Irish way she accidentally swiped out of the show.
That's
She's
what
like,
my
"What
mother
the
told me.
heck?"
Yeah, I know. That's the way my
I've
mom
never
would
seen
use
that.
one
That was very
hand.
impressive.
Yeah, my mom always just used one hand like that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You must be Irish. That's right. You must be Irish if you can do it that way.
I could do it both ways, but this I find easier. So you go into your stitch anyhow. Okay.
Yeah.
You're in your stitch. You're going to yarn over. You're going to pull out the first stitch. You should have 2 working stitches on your
Mhm.
needle. You're going to yarn over again, and then you're going to pull out, and then that's your first single crochet. So I'm going to work a little faster so you can see it in action. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like. This is 6 single crochets. That's what that is. So now the way crochet works is this is your building block. You just chain 1, go up to the next, chain 1, go up to the next, and it goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
And this is just single crochet. So when you do a granny square
Here.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. When you do a granny square, you go around, you go in this square pattern. So you don't build it back and forth, back and forth. You do it this way. It goes this way.
Darlene
And
wants to know, it looks easy when Colleen does it, and why does she look like she's all thumbs?
you know what? I'm never going to say it's so easy to learn. I'm going
No.
to say this, once you get it, you
Mhm.
have it forever.
Right.
You'll have it forever. Once
And then it
you
doesn't matter,
do it.
like Colleen looks so cool doing it that way. And then like if you watch old movies, are you going? Oh, that's right, you have to go to the vet. I was like, Jimmy's like all dressed to go outside. I'm like, where are you going? He has to take our dogs to the vet. If you watch old time like movies from the 40s, like the ladies are knitting like, like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I've heard that it's like more ladylike. They knitted that way. I use cables, but they knitted this way because it was more ladylike looking. And I don't. I'm a thrower. So and I knit at the very ends of my needles. They're all like right here, and I throw my. But
Yeah.
then I was watching a tutorial today, and she was like a sewing machine like you. She was just like burp, 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 burp. So as long as who cares what you look like, as long as you figure it out and you're having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think some of the frustrations for anybody who starts, especially this, like
Yeah.
when your work does this, like
Yeah.
you're there trying to yarn over and you're
Yeah.
like that, it's a dance. It really is a
Yeah.
dance when
Yeah.
you're working with a needle, because it's like you're yarning over, holding, and then you're moving this to this side, and then you're coming through to make a chain. Like it's
Right.
a dance between both hands. You're kind
Yeah.
of doing this all the
Yeah.
time with
Yeah.
crochet,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you just have to slow down, be patient, make the mistakes, because that's
Yes.
how
Give
you
yourself
learn.
grace. Yes.
And that's how
Yeah.
you learn. I really feel
Yeah.
like when you make a mistake and then you have to tear it out,
Hmm.
so many people would get frustrated. I'm like, but now you've made a mistake. And
Yeah.
now you're going to go up and you'll catch it sooner if it happens again. So I'm
Right.
like, it's really a very good learning process to make the mistake and have to pull out work.
Exactly. Like I'm trying to find it. Oh, here I have it here. So I was trying to. We were all on a Asian bamboozled Buddha Ray train on Saturday, and it's Asian inspired. And so Colleen was saying that they might have it once a month, which is very exciting. So I was like, I can't find anything, but I did. But at the time, I was like, I'm gonna make a panda bear, and I had this cutest panda bear. This is his head, this is his belly, his neck, and this is his belly. So, but it started with the feet, and so you do the two separate feet, and then you join on, and this took like 2 days. I mean, look at this ad
I know.
nauseum. I watched a lot of YouTube, and then I started to stuff it, and I was gonna sew it up, and the feet were so obviously like, I don't know what I did. Was probably watching Kate on Whatnot, and I'll blame her. She's not here. And they were so obviously like uneven, and I didn't want to rip all this back. And I remember when I learned and I was like, well, what if you make a mistake? And my mother-in-law said, well, you have to rip everything out. And I was like, no, you don't, because that is, I mean, that's a killer. That's a ton of work right there. So what I did is I picked it from the cast on, and this is at the top. And what I'm going to try to do is knit the pattern not backwards, but starting from the end of the pattern up, and that will bring me, I think, the legs again.
Yeah. Yep. 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 I agree. I agree.
So.
But I mean,
But then I had to put it aside because I wanted to
It's going to be amazing. That is going to be
It'll
amazing.
be super cute. It's so cute. It has like a little jacket and a hat, and it's holding bamboo. It's so adorable. But I had to just put it aside and say it's okay.
I love that. I love that. I love it. I love the animals, and I really haven't done a lot of like animals. I did do so. Michelle, one of her best friends, for her granddaughter, the whole nursery was elephant.
Oh,
So Michelle's like, "Could you do this?" And she, of course, you go onto Pinterest and you see everything,
yeah.
or on Etsy and you see everything. And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I could figure it out." And it was an elephant pillow with the lace ears.
Oh,
And it was one of the hardest things I've ever made because of the way the pattern was for the lace ears.
yes.
It was so difficult to understand, but I finally was like, okay, I got it. I got it. I had to rip it out like 7 times. And I said to her, I don't think I'll ever make that again.
But then you did it. Like, I've done that with some of these shawls. I'm like, I'm never making that shawl again,
I know.
ever.
And
Like,
honestly, I
I'm gonna
made
try
that
and find
one
one. I think
pillow.
I brought one down here that I was like, this is too hard. But then, like, you made that and you conquered it, and you're like, yep, I learned that, but I'm never doing that again, ever in my
Never.
life. Like, okay, let me show a turtle. So this is actually, I think, a tortoise. So this is by Alan Dart also. That's the toy patterns are Alan Dart patterns. So I was trying to make this for the Asian train too, but didn't have enough time. But look how cute it is.
So cute.
And so this is needs to be sewn on. These are my needles. But then it has like these little legs.
Love it.
It's so cute. But
It,
okay, so here's something. Let me move that over here. But when you
it
were
is
saying elephant,
really
I
cute.
wanted to make an elephant, but J.R. J.R. Richards, said, "Hey hookers,
Hi.
red chat.
Hey, hey.
Um, let's see, vintage life. You know the most amazing thing about all of us older folks that we learned how to crochet or knit at a young age. Yes, I know we learned without YouTube. Okay, so here is like then this was supposed to be a sweater. This was the hardest thing in the whole entire world, and then I knew this was never fit me in my life. But I was like, "Well, I did that."
That is
But I never
unbelievable.
finished it, but, like, this was like you and your elephant. You did it, and you're never gonna do it again.
Never. No, I
Yeah,
only
isn't
did
that
it that
cute?
once. I know. That's
I think
awesome.
it could be a bag, but
You could totally make a bag out of that.
yeah. But by then, you're, like, so tired of it.
I know. You do get like, especially if a project is long and tedious like that,
Yeah.
you get tired of it. By the time it's done, you're like, yeah, I'm
I don't
done.
think I don't think I brought a shawl. There was one shawl, I think it might still be upstairs, that I was like, "I'll never do that again." Um, but here's one, like, I did a video on Flying Pig, knits about how I found an old knitting bag that had 2 projects with, shawls in them. Liz Loves Cats is here. Hey, Liz. Um, and one of them was this one, Find Your Fade. So I was starting another one. So here's the original one, Find Your Fade, and it fades into different colors. See
Yep.
here? And so
Gorgeous.
I was making another one, and that was kinda like I knew it was mine. Have you ever done that? Like, you found, like, a project, or are you really good that you're like, "I finish everything I make," because
Absolutely not.
yes. So I
Wait,
found, like, 2 shawls in this bag, and then later my mom watched the video. JR Richards like, "Never." I my mom watched the video, and she's like, "I think you were making that one shawl for me," and I was like,
I, I, so, uh, so whenever I have different projects, they're called whips, work in
"Yes, work
progress.
in
Okay.
progress."
I, I,
Yes.
I I have to show you because this is the funny part. I was like, I think I have to admit I have a problem when I have 40,000 whips and nothing really solidly finished over here. So hold on, let me show you. Do you see all these bins?
Oh, are those all
But
your whips?
these are all different projects.
I feel vindicated.
Look, these are all different projects. Look, all of these are different projects. Look, here's my knitting. And I have loads and loads. Look, all different projects, because it's like ADD central sometimes in my brain. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to try something new. I'm bored of that. I don't want to do any more granny squares.
Yeah. That was like the rainbow shawl. This was like, I made hats. I made a hat for me, made a hat for Jimmy. Then I made hats for my parents. This is when I first started back. This was all in December and January. And then I was like, I want to make a shawl, even though I found like that bag with two shawls that were halfway done. So I started this one. And then I was like, I want to make a critter. And then I was like, I want to do a mystery knit along.
That's it. You just, a reworker's home. I know.
You need to
Michelle.
schedule shows and sell that stuff. I know a reworker's passion. She's like, I just made this.
I know. You know what? Michelle has been on me now since like Thanksgiving,
This was the
because
baby step because this is what they were selling. They were selling Afghans, and Quantum was like, you need to do a show, and I was like, ah,
it really was Quantum's idea. We both were like, yeah,
it was
yeah,
Quantum's idea.
yeah. It was. He always
Yeah.
has the best ideas.
So they're talking about toboggans and hat and beanies and hats because Darlene's in Maine. Someone was saying, do you call them here? Vintage Life said, I was wondering maybe is that a southern thing calling it a toboggan? Isn't that a hat too? But it's also a sled? I call them beanies.
Beanies.
Yeah.
Yeah, a toboggan is a sled to
Oh,
me.
the Halloween thing she said looked like it could be a
Oh.
hat. Well, my head's not that big. My head's big, but it ain't that big. This might fit like Jenny as a sweater. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's a hat, but I call them beanies. Okay, I think I call them hat, but then like Kate said, "Oh, I like your beanie," and I was like, "It is
Oh,
kind of a
God.
beanie."
Quantum said, I just went to the Human Zoo, Walmart, to go get
Yarn
yarn
and
and
needles.
needles. Yay, Chuck. Ah.
Darlene says toboggan is a sled, hat, or beanies.
Isn't that funny? I've never heard of that saying before.
A toque. There, I've heard of that. TOQUE. I've
That
heard of
is,
that.
that's,
And then let's see, a puppy sweater. That would be cute.
that would be cute.
That would be cute. Yeah. So now everyone should know how to crochet because she did the chain, and then you just build off of that.
So I'll show you. I just made a few samples. So this is a half double crochet
Did you just do
sample.
that while we were talking?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I threw this together before the show came on.
I was like,
This,
you're annoying.
no, no. You the other day you were like, "Oh, I made this."
Wait a minute. While you guys are working hard,
Yeah.
I went upstairs and fed the Pomeranians, and I just ate a yogurt bar out of her, a frozen yogurt bar out of her freezer.
She smells like chocolate.
I do. This is the best show ever. We're doing these all the time.
Oh, you are too much, girl.
Hello, Vintage Life. Hello, Jay.
So this is a single crochet. That's the way a single crochet would look. It's like a little tighter. Half double crochet would be a little bit, lacier. And then I'll show you. So
Look,
this
Vintage Life said the best naughty hooker show ever.
the,
She got muted.
we are naughty hookers. Wait, I have to show, I have ADD right now.
Quantum. Quantum, I can't say that. Wait, what does it say? I knit because killing people is frowned upon. Save a life, send yarn. That's hilarious.
My sister gave me that.
That's
And then a
funny.
very inappropriate mug. And I'm not going to put that on. But this is a granny square. So it's done with double crochet. So the pattern for a granny square is 3 double crochets and then a chain. So you go into each of these. So you would do 3 double crochets, a chain in between, 3 double crochets, chain in between. Then you do a corner, which is 3 and 3 with a chain in between to do
Yes.
the turn on a
But when
corner.
you do the corners, don't you do chain 2 on your corners?
So It
I'm
depends.
chaining 2 on my corners of here. Now see, this is called a moss stitch, but then it's also called single crochet, isn't it, right?
Yes. Yep.
And
That's
then when I come to the corners, I usually put 2. And Julie likes the name of our show. She just saw the name of our show.
so I agree with the moss stitch. If I was doing a single crochet turn, I would do 2 chains for the
In the
corner
corner.
because the stitches are tighter and smaller.
Yeah.
But with this, they're a little lacier and big. So I like to keep the corners a little tight and a little neater. Sometimes I feel like 2 chains on a turn like this can be a little loosey goosey, if you know what
Oh,
I mean.
okay.
So I like to keep it a little tight. So right here is what it looks like here. And I just did 3, did a chain. I'm going
I
to
know. Look at
do
Colleen. She's like, "Look, I just whipped this up."
I did
Janet
it.
said hookers being loosely goosed.
So so that's how Granny has worked. It's worked this way in a
Yeah.
square.
Yeah.
So like I said, a lot of people do too. I don't particularly like it. I like the corners to be a little bit snugger.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like the hole then opens up too much on the corners with 2 sometimes. So it's all up to you, really.
Nanny
What you
wants you to
like.
slow down on the double crochet. Can you do it slow for
Sure,
her?
sure.
Do it like okay.
Pretend you're in slow
Okay, you ready?
motion.
Okay. Yarn over. Go into the stitch. Yarn
Yarn
over.
over.
Pull
3 on the hook.
3 on the hook. Yarn over. You then take out the 2 middle stitches like this. Okay. Yarn over. Last 2.
Yeah.
That's a double crochet. So yarn over into the stitch. Yarn over. Come back out. You'll have 3 on. Yarn over. Take out the 2 middle, yarn over the last 2.
Now, when you on that, is that color changing yarn or are you changing yarn in each round? Oh, I saw the
I
ends. You're changing on each
I'm
round.
I'm changing yarn on every round.
Okay.
So, I'll show you.
And that's what someone said in my comments on my other YouTube channel, Flying Pignets. Yes, I will aggressively push that other channel. So they said to have really long tails.
Yes, so when you weave in
Yeah.
your strings. So I'll show you. Like this is kind of like a scrap GAN. This whenever I travel, so when we went to Virginia, Michelle and
Yeah.
myself and her husband, I literally sat in the back seat and like I said, when I scrap yarn, I make squares and throw them into a bag. And then
Okay.
when I'm traveling, I'll grab the bag and whatever joining color yarn that I want, and I'll just sit in the back and I'll just put them all together. And I'll just make a blanket in the back seat
Just feel
while
like
I'm
you're
traveling.
driving and then you're in the back seat.
That's it.
I
You
made
have no idea. I'm like this in the back seat. This is great.
this. You're like the Swedish chef.
It's literally
Burned,
this.
burned.
It is
So true.
It is literally like this in the back seat. I'm like,
J.R. Richards is with me. We're both like, I'd be throwing up. I know. I'd be like, whoa.
well, the thing is, I don't look. Like I'm not sitting there doing that. I'm like talking. Oh, look at that car, and doing it. But all of this work here,
Yeah.
all of this is what you have to do in the end. You got to
Yeah.
weave all these little
Yeah. I
suckers
did.
in.
This is the back, and you could see I did weave in some. You can see the little tail
Yeah,
ends, but then like recently I
I know.
need to do these, but I only have a couple more days left. So
I force myself to really try
Oh,
and
Quantum has a question.
weave as I go along. I
okay.
really try.
Quantum says, okay, I have 8 needles here, D through K. Which one do I use?
A J. You need a J. You need,
J.
and I
J
just
for
sent you
Janet.
a package. I would have sent you one.
Yeah, mine fell on the floor and I can't get it, but mine is a J.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
listen,
Shomac, your favorite is H. Is that bigger? The bigger the letter, the higher the letter, the bigger the hook?
so what I am going to tell you is for anybody beginning, I said this before, I prefer to get a J needle, which is a 6 millimeter, a worsted weight yarn, light color, no dark colors when you're learning. You won't be able to see the stitches. And it's very frustrating if you can't see where you're going into. So I always start my beginners with a J and a light colored worsted weight yarn. Now,
well, wait, Christina says, what is it called again when they use chunky yarn? Well, that's just like it's the same yarn for knitting. So I know there's lace, fingering,
mhm,
DK,
mhm,
worsted, and DK and worsted are so close and similar. And then bulky,
bulky, chunky. Mhm.
chunky,
And there's,
blanket.
I'll show you because I actually pulled out some yarn and put it aside to
Do you
show.
have any yarn?
Hold on. Let me see if I can find some. Wait, just turn around. Look what I'm doing to myself. I'm such a boob.
I'm so glad that this will be on YouTube for everyone to watch
I
again.
am such a boob. Oh, please forgive me, people. Please. So hold on. I have. Where is?
To rewatch
Just
and
bear
share.
with me.
So I'm
please.
trying to get her to do something on YouTube as well, because we do have a YouTube channel, but we've done nothing, zero, nothing. We're really good. We're really good.
You could do that. You could live stream all of your shows.
I know, and we haven't done any of it. And now that I have her working again on crochet and getting out there,
You're like,
I am a taskmaster like nobody's business. I really am. Listen, a girl's got to have a new hat every year, a new
yes.
scarf.
There came to a point that my husband was like, you don't have to make me any more hats.
Oh, yes, you do.
I was like, you get a hat every day, every year.
So this one she just showed you earlier.
Yeah, I know. It's so pretty.
And she made me put it up on the marketplace on whatnot. And I'm like,
I know, but I would like start that like at $50.
Oh, no, you know what she started it at? You know what she's selling it for? $19. It's up there now. So if somebody wants to go grab this, she's ridiculous. And
That's crazy.
I know this much. It's 30%, no, 70% acrylic, 30% wool blend.
Ooh, nice. So it's soft. That's nice.
It's soft and it's nice. Yeah, so that's all I know. That's all I can contribute to the party.
That's all. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, you can never make the value of what you make. I know. I know.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I love doing this. And I'm not doing it for the money. I'm just doing it because I really, really love it.
And I'm like, this is $4,000.
That's a heck of a lot more work, honey. That is a heck of a lot more work.
Yeah.
So this is Woolies, which is a chunky.
$1 million. Yeah, Woolies. That's a good one. Yep.
So this one you can see it is.
I used to use Vanna White yarn. That was the first worsted weight. And then I found Dira Moore's, which was the British version. And then just go to Knit Picks. It's like $3 for this acrylic yarn.
I actually have bought from Knit Picks before. I really enjoy that. I use Painted Box, Sheepsies. I love some of that. Like this one, I believe is Sheepsies. This is an alpaca. So I just want you to see the difference in size. Like this is look.
Like this is fingering.
That's what this is. Look.
Yeah, this is what most of my stuff is made out of. Like Janet Ray got those snakes.
Yeah.
And so you saw the snakes, how that was sock yarn or fingering weight. And then like Jenny's is the Knit Picks worsted. And you can see how big
100%. You can see
but it's the same pattern.
Yeah. So this one is like a fingering yarn. This is a chunkier yarn, so you can see the difference. Then you have like this is like baby. This is like a baby cotton. This is a real thin one as well. Then you have like a wool, which is a worsted. It's
what brand is that?
This one is a good one. I got this.
Is that Galway?
Yes. Plymouth Yarn, Galway.
High five.
Nails are stuff.
So I do have some good yarns, but you know what a hoarder I am? All my good yarns are just sitting in baskets.
Wait, you're a hoarder?
I am a hoarder.
Yes.
I'm a hoarder. And
you guys, that is not a fake screen behind Colleen. No. That's real yarn.
Hi, I'm Colleen. I'm a yarnaholic.
Janet wants
Hi, everybody.
Janet says what size hook for the chunky, bulky stuff, but usually on your label it will tell you your needle size and your hook size for crochet. She can show you on
So this is the
a
blanket
label.
yarn that everybody's going mad for, that like real soft, smushy.
Is that
So
chenille?
this is Bernat Baby. This is Bernat
Oh,
Baby
okay.
blanket, but it's like the fake chenille from
Yeah.
Bernat. But this is the size I either do a P, a larger crochet needle, or
Mhm.
I'll do like an N. So it's definitely a larger yarn, so you need a wider
Yeah.
needle. So I'll show you the difference. I mean, it's the same preface. You're going to do a chain, but like, look,
Crafterholics meeting at midnight.
Vintage chicks. That was good.
I'm not reading the chat because I
It's so
can't see
good.
the chat.
That's so funny.
And I'm sitting over here laughing because I'm like, I'm the fluffy scale.
Oh, don't do that. She's such a brat. She's such a brat. So it depends. Like if you're gonna do like a thicker yarn like this, you need to get one of the bigger needles, and I
Yeah.
believe it's like NMP. Those are the
Mhm.
larger size. But if you're going to start, once again, do a J, do a worsted weight.
Mhm.
Don't spend a lot of money on
No,
yarn
you can
right
go
away.
on when I was doing my crochet blank because I had all this stuff. I kept all of my favorite needles are Chiagoo. They're CHIAOGOO, and they're these red cable needles. These are I highly recommend these. These are my favorite needles of all time. And I had some crochet hooks, but I can't find them. So I was like, I need crochet hooks for my blanket. And I went on to Amazon and got a little zipper. It comes with a zipper thing, has stitch markers, it has needle, like sewing needles, and it has all of the hooks, like A through P. I don't know. There was like 13 hooks in there, and it was
Yeah,
$12, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So
So like for me, over the years, I have fallen in love with clover
okay,
because
you like clover? Okay.
they have like the soft grip,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like they're light, they're not too heavy. I like working with the wooden crochet hooks as well.
Okay.
Like I like when they're like have a lightness to it because your
Yeah.
hand can get very tired,
Yes.
and I used to always crochet with like the steel needles, that you can buy anywhere.
Jay Richards, my mom and I did arm knitting. Try going to the bathroom.
Remember us?
I taught Michelle hand knit her own blanket. I taught her to do it.
See?
She did do that.
Yeah,
So
for my
funny.
dad, because I was grieving so
Her
much.
her puppy had passed away and she was grieving, and I said, "Sit
Yeah.
down at that table and I'm going to give you this yarn and I'm going to teach you to do something, and you're
Yeah.
going to make a blanket and you're going to get out of your head."
Yeah.
And she did.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the only blanket she ever made. But you did it.
Because she did
Great.
it.
But
Now
she
she
did
can
it.
move on. No, I like knitting needles. I don't use the two separate needles. Everything is cable. So I'm used to it. Then if you turn your work and you drop your needle, you don't drop your needle. And
Yeah. Yeah.
these I've worn these out before where it's on there really good, but I've worn needles out, and what you have to do is you take a picture of it and you email them and they'll send you another one.
What's the brand name of that
It's
again?
Chai Goo, so it's on the you can't see, it's too small on here. I don't think people will be able to. It's CH It's so small. It's CHIAOGOO. And this is a size 5 on this, which is 3.75 millimeters. So like crochet goes by letters and knitting goes by numbers.
Yeah.
Like Darlene has these needles. So you can't see, it's on
I
here.
don't know what my knitting needles are. I actually have
These
really
are my
heavy
favorite.
knitting
I
needles.
love them so much. I have like every size imaginable. And you get super
Thanks,
long
Michelle.
lengths
I'll borrow
of them.
yours, Michelle.
You love knitting in the round. Yeah, I like knitting in the round too.
Oh, I have the Addy needles.
You scoop them at estate sales? That's smart. Oh, Addy needles are good.
I have this set.
See, now I don't. Oh, okay. I've used those for they make knitting needles too.
So that's what these are. These are the ones where you
Oh, are
can,
those interchangeable?
yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
see, those tend to twist off
Do
for
you
me.
think?
It might be the way I'm going. So, I have used like I've even had like knitting needles where they had lights at the end, so you
Yeah,
can knit in the dark. But then I
yeah.
was like, I don't have to look at my knitting.
Uh, you're such a professional. You don't even have to look. Uh,
Darlene still has her mom's knitting needles and her hooks. That's so sweet. Yeah,
I
that's nice.
actually, you see that blanket right
So
behind you?
does Leanne.
This my mother made years ago when my little brother was born,
Hmm.
and he doesn't know I have it, and he's not getting it back. I'm keeping.
Neener, neener.
Um, when we were cleaning out my parents' house, my mom passed away 8 years ago. When we were
Hmm.
cleaning out my parents' house, this was up in like the nursery of my parents' house, and everybody was just taking everything and dumping things, and I was like, "Stop!
Yeah.
I want to look at this stuff." And so my mom made this years ago for
Oh. Oh,
her
see,
son.
that's a big granny square.
Yep. So this was my little brother's blanket.
Aw. I
Yeah.
like those colors.
So I eventually want to put it into a shadow box and hang it
Mm.
up here in the room. So
Yeah.
I have like a little piece of my mom with me.
Sure.
Um,
That's special. How
it,
special is that?
yeah, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, my mom taught me how to sew, garden.
Yeah.
She was so crafty. My
Yeah.
mom could do anything. Anything
Yeah.
she could put her mind to. She could very artistic mind, very
Very
artistic
nice.
person. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Darlene's mom passed 30 years ago.
Oh,
Did
Darlene.
you show them your new keychain?
Oh, Michelle wants me to show you.
She just made these like last night.
I did. I made these last
Those are so cute.
night.
Little flowers.
A little. So I saw a video. I was watching some video, and someone takes like soda caps,
Yeah.
plastic soda caps, or milk carton caps,
Mm-hmm.
and you take them and then you crochet the green
Oh.
petal around it, and then you do the rosette, and then you put it together with like a fabric glue. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna make some flowers for spring. Some little, some little things. By the way, you do the same thing, you smarty pants.
I know.
She's like, yeah, she just makes that.
We're so annoying.
Oh,
Yes,
oh,
Showmax says we all do. Like that's my when you were saying your mom was super talented. My mom is super talented too. And I remember we were talking on the phone and I said, "See, look, Dan, it's like $10 each." We were talking on the phone one time and I have all these needles and you can't really, hey Wheezy, you can't really because they're cables. So I wanted to hold a needle holder thing, and we were FaceTiming, and so we were talking, and I could hear her sewing. She's an excellent seamstress, and so then she's like, "Doo, doo, doo, doo," and it was probably like half hour later. She's like this, and it's what I use to hold my needles. She made, she just whipped it up.
wow.
You're gonna make this, yeah, Dagny. I'm gonna make this cat. No big deal.
Exactly. I'm just gonna pump out 3 cats, 2 mice, a bunch of snakes, and I started
Don't
a
forget my
picture.
turtle.
Really?
Turtle's coming soon.
Oh, the
Turtle.
turtle. The turtle's the best. When you do that panda, though, I want the panda. My daughter loves
I
pandas.
know. The poor panda. Now there were tiny little pandas and I was gonna but then I was like then I realized like the train was this it was just past weekend, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's in 3 days. So I had to finish the mice instead. Let's see. Darlene, I started teaching a painting class and I keep getting pictures and being asked if I could do it. I always say absolutely. And then Shomax says, and Mario squares for the grandson. And J.R. Richards says, Mom and I knit hundreds of birds. I want
Oh,
to see
my
what your
God.
birds look like. Send me a picture. I love
Jay
that.
Richards, make a bunch of birds. Come on,
Yes,
girl.
I love it when you guys message me through whatnot, and you're like, "Look what I made," or "Look what I love that."
Oh, good.
Liz loves cats. Says my mom tried to teach me to knit. Keyword tried. That's like I remember when I was pregnant with Jenny, and we found out she was a girl, and I wanted a girl so badly. And Jimmy was like, "And you could teach her to knit." She could care less, but she was really excited when I made her the snake.
There
So
you
that's all that
go.
matters.
I taught both my daughters how to knit and crochet. One was good at crochet and one was
Oh,
good at the knit.
there you go.
And they did it for like a year.
Uh-huh.
and that's it. They
Oh,
don't do
okay.
anything. The only thing they do is, "Mom, ooh, I love that scarf. Can I have that scarf?" "No, you can't have everything I make." Like, they just like, "Mom, can you make me another blanket for the house this?" "Yes, I'll make you another blanket."
She's been knitting for 62 years. I can appreciate it and I'm thankful. Yeah, that's what the thing is. Janet's like, those are my college colors. Um, the thing is, like, when people appreciate, like when the aunt was like, you can buy socks at Walmart. And I was like, and then when I would spin yarn, because I have a spinning wheel, and so I would make my own yarn. And she's like, you can buy yarn. I was like, but I made this yarn.
Yeah,
That's
I've
the whole
never
thing.
spun
I know it
yarn.
is Gryffindor colors. I know. I was
It
starting
is.
this and I was like, Jenny, is this Harry Potter? And she's like, yeah.
It is.
Let's see. Kathy said she crocheted herself a dress one time. It took her so long. By the time she's ready to assemble it, she was a different size and she gave it to the Goodwill.
Stop!
And Janet has her late aunt's spinning wheel. Yeah, I have a spinning wheel, and I used when I taught kindergarten, and we would have letter week, and so I would bring it in for. I think I brought it in for W because it was a wheel, and then I would
Yeah,
the kids would like spin their own yarn. They enjoyed
that's
doing that.
so cool.
Yeah.
I have my mom's spinning wheel, and
Okay.
I've never learned how to spin. I've
Oh,
never
it's oh, you
I
would love it.
I
It's
put
so
it in the
meditative.
corner and just
It's
love
so
it.
amazing.
Yeah, I've
And
never done it.
a vintage life. I found a loom for like nothing at a garage sale once. It looks so. Now I've done that too. I've done weave. Have you woven? And J.R. Richards weaves.
She learned in Japan.
Okay. Let's see. It's like making your own paper. Yeah, like the quality. Like you've done it from. I made this yarn and then I knitted these socks,
Mm,
stuff like that. So weaving is fun. It takes a long time to dress a loom. It's very like it's very complex. And then if you have a floor loom, those are like those big ones. I had a rigid heddle loom. It's for one on a table. It's like it's so it's it's very it's like one of those things like you're like, well, it's finally dressed. Well, now I don't want to do it.
I would love to learn how to weave,
Yeah.
or just like even just do it a few times just to try it, but I've never done it.
If you come to the Sheep and Wool Festival, so on Flying Pig Knits, my other YouTube channel, I know it's so annoying, but I have to promote myself.
No, it's
Don't,
So
it's not
not.
annoying. Keep going, girl.
so we're gonna go to like yarn stores and which I need to do because I've only gone to one, but we're gonna go to the Sheep and Wool Festival, which is in Friendship, Maryland. It's the first weekend in May. Everyone's invited, all 27 of you, and we're gonna record there. And we used to go there all the time, and they do a sheep to shawl. So what they do is this event. They will take a sheep, they will shear that sheep, they will card the sheep, the not the sheep, that would be gross. They card the yarn, the wool, and then thank you, Vintage Life. Thank you so much. And then they make the yarn and then they weave it. And it's
That,
timed.
wow, that's
And
cool.
they have a kids version of that too, but they I think they don't shear the sheep. I think it's like shortens because it's
Please
children.
remind me of those dates because I want to put it on
Yep.
my calendar. I would love to do that.
It's Saturday and I will. It's Saturday and Sunday, and then Sunday is not as busy. Saturday is a busy, and like for all of us who love yarn and stuff, like you walk in and you're like, we all love it. We all like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like it's
Michelle, you're
like
gonna have to take all
it's
my
in Maryland.
cards.
It's in Friendship, Maryland, and I live in Lancaster County, so it's not that we're. I mean, I'm actually 15 miles from Maryland, but um, it's close by. Yeah, Friendship, Maryland. It's at the fairgrounds or something, and it's the first full weekend in May. I think it's the second and third this year.
Love it. I
So we're
definitely
definitely going, and maybe Fleetwood would come too.
absolutely
Yeah,
plan on it.
and
Plan.
Michelle.
And
Yes,
Michelle,
I'll come. I promise. I'll hold on to her credit card so she doesn't go broke.
yes, yes, she'll save me
You
from
you and
myself.
Jimmy can hang out in the truck.
Yeah, Jimmy and
Yep, and they have one in Rhinebeck. I've been to that one. They have one in Rhinebeck. That's usually in October.
Oh, we're
Oh,
doing that too. And Jay Richard's gonna come to that one.
Rhinebeck is so great.
Jay, come
Yeah,
to both. Come to
come to
both. Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Oh, Rhinebeck's in your backyard. Yeah, we went. We took my mom to that one, and we went up to Maine, and then we showed her Maine, like in Portland, and then we went back down for Rhinebeck, and that was really nice too. Yeah,
Yeah, Rhinebeck's beautiful too.
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, this has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Should
We've
we
got
do
to
it
do that.
again?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Let's make a plan. We'll do it again. And listen, guys, if anybody has any questions in regards to I'm struggling with something, I don't know how to
Yes.
do this, please reach out to me if you have
Yep.
any question in regards to crochet. If I know it, I'll let you know. And
Yeah.
if not, I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you. Okay.
Where will the Friendship Maryland event be posted? It's usually you can look up Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, Friendship Maryland, and then things will pop up. Too much fun. Janet broke her pearls. Well, that's a sign of a good show.
Janet, I didn't wear my pearls for that reason, you know.
And next time, if you have any knitting questions, I could show you like the basics of knitting. But it was more fun watching the. I was like, oh,
Oh yeah, I've never
yes.
done that on camera, so I was like all fingers and thumbs. So sorry about that, guys.
But it looked so cool because it looked like I was doing it. So that was exciting.
Did you see what she did? She's
I
like,
took
put
a
your
picture.
head
I'll
up, put
send
your
it to
head up. It
you.
looks like my head's on your body.
I'll send you the picture. It would look pretty good.
That's so
I
good.
love
Let's
it.
see. Kathy crocheted her dad a sweater for Christmas. It was variegated. It was blue cream and coral. He was unable to wear it before he passed. Oh, you sold it on the E. Oh, I bet that was a really pretty sweater. Yeah, throw wool, Colleen.
Oh, oh, you want me to throw a hole again? Woohoo! Oh wait.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
So your next show when you're doing Afghans and your like
Yeah,
when
when
is
is
your
it the
next?
26th?
So far, it's 26th of March.
But I think we're going to bump it up because
Okay.
I have a lot of things coming down the pike at the end of March. So it'll probably be sooner than that. We'll probably change the show tonight. So just go
Okay.
into
Just
Fleetwood
bookmark and then
Mac.
if you change it,
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, here's my show." I do that all. I never if you're new here and you're a seller, don't ever cancel a show, just change
yeah,
the
she
date
does.
because then all the bookmarks stay with you.
Yeah, Janet said that.
So, and there's things in her shop. Yeah.
Thank you, Jan.
Colleen does not throw shade, she throws wool.
That's correct.
So when is
Listen.
your next show on Whatnot? When is your very next
Oh,
show?
this week, pottery.
Pottery. This
Pottery,
week,
what day?
The 27th.
I think it's the 27th.
At what time?
Thursday. It's usually, is it 4:34 or 6:34?
Well, it's the train. It's the one with Thrifty Druid Nicole.
Okay.
It's the Pottery Lovers Unite train.
Do you know the time?
It's on all day, so there's a bunch of sellers.
Okay.
So we're on somewhere around there. I don't know. We're on that day. We're really
Look
great
at the
business-
mess I made.
We're really
Look
good
at the mess
businesswomen.
I
We're
made.
really good. We're really good at that.
my next show is tomorrow at 7:00 Eastern Standard because I'm
Of course
boring
you
and I
knew
only
that.
do them on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Show off.
It's our
Yeah.
first day.
Jay Richards wants to know it's your first day. Yeah, it's her first day with yarn.
We have a show. We don't know when. I'm just going to keep throwing the balls of yarn around. Okay.
Jay Richards usually knows more than us. She mods for us.
Jay Richard keeps us on track.
Yes,
she
she
is
does.
our girl.
That's good. It's always good to have someone to keep you in track. All right, this has been so much fun. I've had so much fun. If you missed it and you want to rewatch it and watch Colleen just like make something, it will be up on YouTube under my lives.
I love it.
And then the next step is we're going to have you work on your YouTube channel.
Yes,
Yes.
I know. She keeps telling me to do that. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
I'll try my best.
Well, I'm going to kick you out so I can go raid somebody.
Okay.
And I will
Bye,
message
guys.
you that picture.
Thanks for
It was so
coming in.
nice seeing you. Thank you all for joining me. We had like around 30 people the whole time, which is, I usually don't pay attention, but it was very exciting to see all of you because, like I said, it was Quantum's idea. Colleen's like, well, I don't know. And then I was like, let's do it.
I'm like, okay. I just get so shy and
No,
like,
there's
nervous.
nothing to be shy.
I get nervous before
It's
shows.
something that I remember my friend who I used to teach with, she taught First Communion, and the kids would always be like, we're so nervous. And she's like, you're nervous because you care. So that's what I always think when I start getting nervous. I'm like, I'm nervous because I care. I want people to come to the shows and have fun and be entertained. So I always think of her, and she's passed. So that's always like a nice memory of her when she's like, you're nervous because you care.
Janet's
So
like,
you did great. We're going to do it again. But now I want you to say hi so I can kick you out. Oh, hi, Squeaky Cheese Lady.
Bye.
All right, let's see here. You have to say hi so I can click on your name.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Sorry. Bye. Bye.
All right. Okay. Stick around. Don't leave, everybody. We're gonna go right after we remove co-host. Bye, Colleen. Bye, Michelle. Okay. Let's see. Let's find somebody to rate. Thank you all so much for coming in. This has been so much fun. I think we're going to find somebody in the regular vintage category. We can go see, oh, Green 13. He's in vintage and antique jewelry. And that's always fun. It's probably not him. It's probably Nicole that's going to be doing it, but it's fun. He always has some nice jewelry. Let's go say hi to him. And I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard.